called The Blob. Seems like right up his alley, so that could turn out well. Rob Zombie, obviously, a artist and film director, a musical artist. Actually, he's done a lot of music and films too. One of my favorite songs, the Living Dead Girl song from the opening scene of Bride of Chucky, if you remember that one.
Definitely got that on DVD.
And I definitely want to read the description to this. It's called The Cellar. A group of wedding guests get trapped in a cellar in a remote castle. I'm going to have to hear more info about that. They're probably not even in pre-production yet, but that's definitely something that, even though it's very brief, it does capture my interest, I will admit.
You know what, that to me almost sounds like it's based off an urban legend.
Possibly, yeah.
You've heard of the one I'm talking about? Because there's a urban legend about a bride. She was drunk at her wedding reception, and her guests were playing hide and seek, and so they couldn't find the bride. And I think it was a week later, the maid, I think, because they said the reception was at her house, but it was someplace that had an attic, and the maid was cleaning up, and all of a sudden she discovered this heavy trunk, and when she went to open it, in there was the decayed body of the bride. She had fell in the trunk, and it slammed on her, and she couldn't open it from the outside, so she died.
Oh, well, that's uplifting.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so maybe that will be based off of that urban legend. Next, we have the corporate zombie killers. We have the gatekeeper. Okay, now here's what I want to read about. The Haunting in Georgia. They already did something called the Haunting in Connecticut. Now they're doing a Haunting in Georgia. Let's talk about this. All right. The story of the real-life Wyrick family, haunted by ghosts, is a terrifying mystery that haunts their new home. Chad Michael Murray portrays Andy Wyatt, the blue-collar, no-nonsense husband, to Abigail Spencer's Lisa Wyatt, a young mother struggling with horrifying visions, a curse she shares with her wayward sister, Joyce, and now fears she has passed on her young daughter, Heidi. Her fears have been passed on to her young daughter, Heidi. Yeah, I mean, it seems like something that might be interesting to go ahead and see, but I really doubt anything's ever going to become of it.
But see, the funny thing is, because I'm reading it now, too, is going to be the sequel to Haunting in Connecticut, and after The Haunting in Georgia, there will be a third installment called The Haunting in New York.
What about The Haunting in Ohio? What about The Haunting in Indiana? What's next?
What about The Haunting in Hawaii?
Slavia?
What about The Haunting in Hawaii? That'd be funny.
Hey, that's catchy. Well, no, you can't be haunted in Hawaii. It's such a great place to live. I mean, if you live in a shithole like Ohio or Indiana, you want to be haunted just to change the pace. I'm just kidding. But, yes, that is awkward. But I did not know. I'm glad you looked that up, that it is a sequel. I didn't catch that. So that's interesting. The Human Centipede 2. What?
That sounds more like a comic book character.
Full sequence. Yeah, let me look at that. It is horror, and it's a sequel. I don't know what it's a sequel to. Well, no, wait a minute. It's called The Human Centipede 2, and I just said what it's a sequel to. Well, maybe the original Human Centipede. I feel like an idiot. Anyway, The Neighbor number 13. 13 obviously often associated with an unlucky number.
All the way.
13th, yada, yada, yada. So let's read about this. This is a remake of the original number 13, which I have not seen. A young boy witnesses schoolyard bullying that is so disturbing that he remains obsessed with avenging the wrong even a decade later. And this is a remake of the Japanese film Rinjin 13 Go.
Heard of that.
Really? Have you seen it? What'd you think of it?
It was decent. It was good.
Pretty good?
It was nothing too wow, bam, in your face. But I have definitely heard of that, so. Because it's more, it wouldn't be horror. It'd be more considered like a little bit suspenseful, a little bit thriller, but not like dead horror.
What's it about?
Like I said, it is based off of what you said. The boy who witnesses a horrible event at the schoolyard, bullying, he decides, I'm going to get revenge on these kids, so he does certain things to try and eliminate them. But it's like, after seeing that, I do want to see how they're going to try and remake this movie.
Why did I just ask you what it's about when I just read the description?
Because you wanted to know.
I forgot.
Well, you just wanted to know how the original was.
Yes. We got The Orphanage. It's a remake of the 2007 Spanish language film. Now, I could have sworn The Orphanage just came out. Am I thinking of something else? And it's just...
You're thinking of The Orphan.
Oh, okay, The Orphan. See, I got those two confused there. But that's coming out there.
I don't blame you, because in a way, you can get The Orphan and The Omen confused. Because, I mean, both of them have to do with these evil little, quote-unquote, children. But honestly, one is just the son of the devil. The other is a woman who had a disease that basically stuck her in this little body of a girl.
Oh, right.
Speaking of which, have you seen The Orphan?
No, I actually have not. It doesn't look very interesting to me.
It's somewhat interesting. The girl who played Esther, she can act.
Really?
Yes.
What's
So the one of the movie.
Speaking of girls who can act, her name's slipping my mind. Is it Dakota something?
Dakota Fanning.
Yeah, from Hide and Seek.
Mm-hmm.
She can act, like you mentioned to me.
Yes, she can. So she's also in the Twilight films too, for any of the Twilight lovers out there. But
if they were, they wouldn't be listening to the show.
But I'm impressed with these little actresses who know exactly how to act, because you know some people are just horrible actresses.
Like yourself?
No, like you.
Thanks.
But I'm impressed. These girls have skills. And in one of the movies you have mentioned, Mary Elizabeth Winstead is going to be playing in one of these films. I'm trying to remember exactly which one. I think it is. No, it's not Fright Night.
Who are you referring to?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in Black Christmas, Final Destination 3.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that the other week.
Mm-hmm. The quote-unquote new Scream Queen.
Yes. Some other movies now that are coming out in 2011 include The Prince, The Strangers 2. I'm really looking forward to that. No plot details have been announced. Fuck. Sorry.
I still want to know, what are they going to do?
Hey, Liv Tyler is starring.
No way.
Yeah.
Ooh. But my thing is, in The Strangers 2, I hope that they will discuss, like, what was the history between the protagonist and his girlfriend, and what was the whole story with the strangers. If they don't answer it in there, my hope is that if they do a remake of The Strangers, they're going to address it in that.
Yeah, hopefully. Next we have The Tortured, The Troll Hunter, Vlad, Wolves, and Zombies of Mass Destruction, which is probably one of those more comedy-type based films. And the last one we'll read a description I was going to read a description of The Tortured, but no details have been announced, so we'll talk about the crappy Zombies of Mass Destruction, based on a Red 5 comic book by Kevin Gravow, I can't pronounce his last name, who is responsible for the Underworld franchise. Okay. Among others, rights to the graphic novel were picked up in July of 2008. This is action, adventure, war, and horror. Not my kind of movie, but it may be appealing to those of you who are into that sort of thing.
It might just be based off of action with just little itty-bitty touches of horror. Tiny.
Yeah, seems like it to me. Well, folks, that pretty much wraps up our discussion of horror films. We had a great discussion there of some upcoming 2011 horror films. So of that list, I'm definitely a few I can pull out. I'm really